getting the foot up, cleaning it, and inspecting the foot first. So we've got a nice, clean foot wiped off with sawdust or paper towel, whatever's to hand really. So it's dry, so also as you're handling your tools are not slipping out your hands. So first, we approach our model claw, which is on the back foot, is our inner claw, and we're looking for the measurement of 7.5 centimetres, which is measured via the hair point, at the bottom of the hair point where the horn starts going hard, which is there. And by measuring that, you need to find on your palm of your hand, or with a measuring stick, is that my palm of my hand measures 7.5 centimetres. So I put my little finger against the where the horn starts going hard at the top and wrap my hand around. And that hoof is slightly short. So that is our step one on that side. So it's slightly short, so our levels will be at perfect height there. So we don't touch that claw now. We go straight on to our step two, which is done on our outer claw. Again, we clean around so we know we're measuring from the right place. And we again wrap our little finger around and we measure that again. And that claw is also slightly short. And when we match them up together, they are the same size. Then to check our levels, we use our knife and get the wall true underneath with your finger, and we look down at the back of the hoof level so we can see down the back of the knife. And this outer claw is slightly higher, so I'm just going to take a couple of slithers off to match it up. And when we're doing it, we want to do long strides and to keep it nice and level whilst doing it. We haven't taken a lot off there at all, and you just check yourself again, and that's nice and level. So that's our step one and two. Our step one, lengths and levels on our inner claw, and step two, which is our lengths and levels on our outer claw. Now we go to our step three, which is our modelling, and we model on the inner claw, which is a nice steep model. And on our outer claw, it's more of a shallower model. A shallower model on the outer claw to relieve the pressure on our typical spot, of our typical solar ulcer spot. Then that's our 3 steps of preventative trimming there. Then we come on to our step 4. If you have a white line lesion, a solar ulcer lesion, which step 4 doesn't need doing on this claw because we have no lesions to deal with. But if you were doing a step 4, you would be lowering the painful claw so you could transfer the weight onto the model claw. Sometimes you may not be able to transfer enough weight over, so then you will need to apply a block onto the good healthy claw to relieve the pain of the infected claw. So then our step 5 is just tidying the back of the heels, the fascias at the back of the heels, any slurry heel, so they're nice and smooth so it doesn't trap any dirt. And also just check the back of the heel and the interdigital space for any interdigital dermatitis. And just running my finger through there, this cow is flinching a little bit. And it's also got a little bit of a necrotic smell. There's a little bit of interdigital dermatitis in there, and that can be treated in several different ways with either a topical paste or some blue spray prescribed by a veterinary surgeon. It's quite clean in between there. And this is just an iodine based paste which I just rub in. Not necessary to be bandaged on. That just needs a couple of hours contact time to do its job. Process on the front feet is the same. but slightly different on our starting point. Where on the back claw, we start on our back foot, sorry, we start on our inner claw. On our front foot, we always start on our outer claw. So our outer claw on the front is our model claw. So our step one is always started on the front claw. And measuring that is a little bit short. So our step one, our length there is a little bit short, probably 7 centimetres. So we don't need to do anything else to that claw. So then we go to our step two now, which is done on our inner claw on the front foot. We measure that one, and that one there is a little bit on the long side. So we then take a set of nippers and cut that back to my finger, which is 7.5 centimetres, and we cut that back to the correct length there. And we've taken that back now, and that claw there, height-wise, is a little bit higher. So we now need to lower that claw down to the correct level. It's also important when lowering the claw you take nice long strides and you don't leave it undulated or uneven. You want it level all the way down. And also, as you are trimming, it's also important to keep checking that you're not making the sole too thin. We're trying to get the sole down to our 0.5 of a centimetre. It's also important to remember sometimes you can't always get a 50-50 even weight distribution over the claws. If it starts getting soft, you stop immediately. Now I have a 50-50 weight distribution, so my step 2 is complete on that claw. Now I go to my step 3, which is modelling. Model of our model claw first, which is a steep model. Then on our outer claw, it's more of a shallower model to take that typical pressure off that typical spot. Now in our step 4 on this foot, we have a little blemish on the white line on the side here. So our step 4 now is to investigate that problem. This is our curative foot trimming. So we do that by lowering the wall. There we go. We've got a little abscess at the side there. As we press that there, and we check how far, if it's wandering up the wall. No, it's just right in the sole there. So now we stop at that there now. A little bit of pain there. So what I'm going to do with this is clean this side up and apply a block, because I can't lower the last third of the foot enough to take the pressure. So I'm going to put a block on our inner claw to take the weight off, and that claw will heal up within 4 to 6 weeks. Our outer claw on this front foot to relieve the pressure off this white line lesion which we have here. First we need to have a nice clean surface for the block to adhere to. So we start this by just scraping, ever so slightly scraping the surface. We're not taking any height off. And we need to, with a shoe which we are putting on, we need to clean the axle wall and also the dorsal wall, which can be done by the scraping of the bill of your knife. Just get that surface off, or you can use a rasp. This is just a woodworking rasp. And it just clears it up. And when you've got it nice and clean, you can use get the right size block to fit the foot. This is a shoe which I'm going to try. I've got 2 sizes here. I've got a smaller size and an extra large size. I'm just going to see which fits the best. And just that one, it's a little bit tight, so I'm just going to go for the next size up. It's nice, always check first. That fits nicely, that. And they come in a left and a right, so you obviously can't put one on like that, so you have to have the right shoe and the right size. And we start off. It's always handy to keep your liquid warm when mixing the shoes up, as the glue goes off by heat. So we put the liquid in first to the shoe, then we put the powder in, then we just keep it mixing up, and within a few seconds, quite a few seconds, it'll start going more viscous, then ready to be applied to the claw onto the foot. So you just keep mixing up. As I say, a little bit of the liquid is hot, it will start to go off a little bit quicker. We've got our glue going hot, so we now just give, with a heat gun or a blowtorch, it's just to take any oil, any moisture off the surface of the hoop, so the block adheres and we get a good adhesion. So now, as you can see, that's gone nice and thick. We push all the glue into the toe, and when applying a block, we apply it by putting the toe into the centre, then pushing it up the hoop. And as you do that, the glue dissipates around the wall and up the front, and any glue which comes out, just mould it round the front of the shoe. And when putting a shoe on, it's also very important we don't have any glue around the back of the bulb, as that will penetrate through and cause damage and pain to the animal. And it's very important to make sure your block is level and it's not tilting in and out also. And after about 2 minutes, that cow will be able to put the block down and ready to walk out. Bench grinder for sharpening hoof knives, and we have a carbon rubber impregnated disc on this side, and which is gentle on the knives, gets a nice edge on them and doesn't obliterate the knife like a stone would on your conventional bench grinder. And on this side we have a cloth wheel for buffing the blade to take any burrs off and give them that extra edge on the grind and the knife. Also, this is a bit of polish which we put on the buffing wheel to just help with the buffing of the knife. So we start our bench grinder up, and we have our two hoof knives, our left and right knife, and we start off sharpening, holding it on the top of the wheel, turn it backwards and forwards across the top of the sharpening stone. Then to do the bill of the knife, we rotate it down the back of the wheel from about 2 to 11. It's very important that we only sharpen the leading edge of the knife and not both sides. By sharpening both sides, you will, as you come to trim the cow's foot, all it will want to do is to dig in. So once sharpened on the first wheel, or the rubber wheel, we come to our buffing cloth. We go across the back first to take the burr off the back, then we come by going across the front, applying reasonable amounts of pressure. After about 7 or 8 times across the wheel is usually sufficient enough to give you a nice sharp knife.